possibility, an endless stream of what ifs and what could be. With every choice a human makes, there is another possibility left unexplored. That is the basic premise behind the multiverse. One of these infinite possibilities, one of these Earths, was the one I came from. A world where Gundam was only a quirky mecha show from 1979, and Space Runaway Idion became a pop culture phenomenon all over Japan. Me, Tobita, and another friend of mine named Sadamoto were huge fans of the show, so we decided that, since we were robotic engineers, that we could build a model replica of this RX-78 to renew interest in Gundam, and maybe even bring it back in some way or form. We worked day and night, building it piece by piece, but the problem was, we didn't have a power source. We were ready to give up, when Sadamoto came in with a strange red orb. She didn't tell us what it was, or where she even got it. She only said that it would help accomplish our goals. So at the day of the unveiling, we activated the Gundam model, but it went horribly wrong. Sadamoto had betrayed us all, merging with the model to become a god. She became it, the G-Savior, and proceeded to annihilate the entire universe, leaving only me and Tobita barely alive. From there, she went from universe to universe, each facing horrible circumstances either from war or something else, appearing as a false savior before tricking everyone to destroy each other. She repeated the cycle over and over, gaining more and more power, until various heroes from the multiverse came together, including myself and Tobita, to stop it. In the final battle, Tobita sacrificed his life to save everyone. The Tobita on the disc is merely a copy of his memories. We sealed the G-Savior away in another universe. I stayed in yours because it was the closest one to the G-Savior's prison, staying behind in case it ever comes back. And all was well until you fucked it up, as it were, and it was released, and now it is threatening to consume us all.
それでも言いたいこの僕に何ができるって言うんだ窮屈なへっちに立たされた時不難な僕の腕をつかみ自分自身のありかが初めて見えたんだもっと広いフィールドへもっと深い大きなどこかへ予測もつかない世界へ向かってゆくだけ 僕は僕のことが知りたい
A long time ago, there was a young boy who loved to watch cartoons. One day, he stayed over at his grandpa's apartment building. When he woke up earlier than everyone else, he went to the TV room to watch some more cartoons. But instead of cartoons, what he got was a very peculiar black and white anime, simply known as Gigantor. Over the years, he sometimes watched some episodes of this Gigantor before he stopped watching cartoons and moved on. Now years later, the boy grew into a teen, and on March 13, 2014, he posted his first review of a Mecha series. He has done 48 episodes and 27 other videos and projects, and now nostalgia takes over his mind as he reviews a remake of the show he watched as a kid. And now, hello and welcome to Mecha Anime Reviews, and today we're gonna take a look at Yasuhiro Imagawa's Tetsujin 28. Literally called Iron Man number 28, it was originally a 1956 manga written and illustrated by Mitsutero Yokoyama, who was also the creator of Giant Robo. This manga helped create an entire genre, with every single mecha anything owing their thanks to Tetsujin. It had a 1960s anime adaptation that was released in the US as Gigantor. Yasuhiro Imagawa, the director of Giant Robo The Day the Earth Stood Still, which was also based on another one of Yokoyama's mangas, was tapped to direct a remake of Tetsujin 28, which he did. The remake was the first and so far only Tetsujin 28 anime not to be relabeled as Gigantor in the US. With all that said, what's the story? Years before, Dr. Kaneda had constructed a secret weapon to fight the Americans, but thanks to a change of heart, he sealed it away and promptly died, leaving his son alone. Years have passed, and World War II has ended. Japan is trying to rebuild itself from the losses suffered during the war. Shotaro Kaneda lives his life as a boy detective under the care of Professor Shikishima. After an incident where he attempts to arrest the Murasame brothers, the secret weapon his father created had reawakened. This weapon turns out to be the mighty super robot Tetsujin 28. Now Shotaro fights to protect Japan with Tetsujin, as old ghosts from the war resurface to spread chaos anew. The animation is pretty good. It flows well, and it looks very nice, so no complaints here. The music is pretty good too. It fits the overall tone and style of the show, capable of a lot of range in emotions. I watched the anime in both the original Japanese and in the English dub done by Ocean Group. Both are top notch, with great performances that match the characters pretty well. I'd say the Japanese dub is better, but then again you can say that about most anime, but the English dub is good too. The story is a very engaging, complex, and emotionally charged narrative. It focuses on the aftermath of Japan's defeat at the end of World War II. Many of the antagonists and events are in some way or another connected to the war. Ghosts from the war come back to haunt the present, the consequences of various crimes committed during the war, returning to cause damage anew. Instead of wallowing in pity, we need to take responsibility for the things we've done and actually work to improve lives rather than allowing the past to consume the present. It's handled very well, and it never pulls any punches. It helps that the story is supported by a great cast of characters. Unlike Daisaku and Giant Robo, the story puts more focus on Shotaro's struggles with understanding the world and coming to grips with his father. He's a pretty likable main character, balancing both being a badass and being a little kid at the same time. The antagonists of the series are actually pretty cool too. Each of them are developed very well, and having a rich and nuanced backstory and characterizations, as well as having some tragic qualities to them. Very few of them are straight up villains, with the majority being very tragic figures that just so happen to cause damage to everyone else. Even when there are straight up villains, even their final fates are kinda tragic as well. While the cast is nowhere near as developed as Shotaro and the antagonists, Professor Shikishima and Officer Otsuka have their moments to shine. The mecha designs are pretty old school. It isn't for everyone, but I think the mechas have their own charm and I like that aesthetic. There are some downsides though. Tetsujin himself doesn't really get to do much fighting in the series, which kinda disappoints me. Mind you, it isn't as annoying as in Giant Robo when the titular mecha doesn't get to fight, but it's still a bit disappointing. Some of the characters are extremely annoying, like Miss Takamizawa for being an airhead, and Kenji Murasame, originally a badass character in both the original manga and in Giant Robo, for being a complete and utter douchebag who generally causes more problems for Shotaro. And that's about it really. Yasuhiro Imagawa's Tetsujin 28 is a masterpiece. It isn't as grand or as epic as Giant Robo, but it doesn't need to be. It has a great plot and characters, and it's the perfect love letter to the man who single-handedly invented the mecha genre. Oh well, see you next time on the next Mecha Anime Reviews.
This is a lot to take in.
I know.
Well, it answers a lot of things. But who are the ones attacking me?
We don't exactly know who they are, but we do know its name. They call themselves the Bendu.
That's a stupid name.
You can file a complaint when we find them. We don't know what its true purpose is, but since they made you a target, we assume that they're working for the G-Savior.
The G-Savior seems so powerful.
It's not too late yet. Tobita has told you that the G-Savior has made you his plaything, which means there's time for you to prepare.
But how am I going to beat it? You just said it destroyed entire universes.
You are quite literally the last hope we have left.
I'm not even sure if I'm ready to beat it.
Well, like Tobita said, all the reason we can't face